Are you ready to find out how Asta could get his second Grimoire, and with that his second magic? In this video we are going to discuss one of the most frequently asked questions about Black Clover. How is it possible that Yuno keeps getting all kinds of new power-ups, but Asta is left behind? So buckle up and let's dive into the world of Black Clover. No kidding, some people suspect that Tabata hates Asta or just loves Yuno. People ask, why is that? So here's my final answer to that question. The concept of Black Clover is the parallel between Asta and Yuno. Absolutely every time Yuno got a power up, Asta followed up with the exact same power up at the exact same time. Well, at about the same time. Here are a few examples, but I will keep it short because I've talked about this in previous videos. Yuno got a 4-leaf clover grimoire, and so did Asta, with the difference that his 4-leaf clover is now a 5-leaf clover. Both Yuno and Asta have a grimoire and magic ability that is not their own, with both being connected to Licht. Yuno has the grimoire of Licht's Sun, and Asta has Licht's grimoire. Yuno has Sylph and Asta has Liebe, Black Divider and Spirit of Zephyr, literally at the same time and place. Asta has 4 swords, and Yuno is supposed to have 4 Wind God weapons by the end of the series. And the same goes for their transformations, both unlocked half the form, then the one with 2 wings, then the more advanced form, and so on and so forth. This happened throughout Black Clover, right up until the moment Yuno received his second grimoire, and thus his second magic. Either Tabata thought enough with his parallel game, or he believed that Asta should receive his parallel power up at a later time. Maybe that time just wasn't right yet. For example, we have to consider that Yuno received the Spade Grimoire only because he comes from the Spade Kingdom. If Asta was always meant to get a second grimoire to keep the parallel to Yuno, then it only makes sense that he gets a grimoire in the Spade Kingdom if he comes from the Spade Kingdom just like Yuno. But there's simply no hint for that. There's however a hint that Asta might come from the land of the rising sun. The potatoes from H, for example, is a hint. That he received Yami's katana, that he is so talented in Zednor Key, that he was teleported there, and many other little things. So if Asta is to get a second grimoire, then of course it has to make sense, there gotta be a plot. The fact that we are missing 3 days from the Land of the Rising Sun arc could mean that a little plot twist is waiting for us. Imagine Asta arriving at the battlefield with a new spell, and suddenly we see him with a new grimoire. Chapter end, cliffhanger, 6 weeks break. Ah yeah, Black Clover. I'll come back to the Land of the Rising Sun in a bit. Long story short, there is a very high probability that one of the 2 following conclusions could occur if the concept of parallel power-ups is maintained. Asta could either get a second devil or a second grimoire, or both. More on that in a moment when I will talk about the Land of the Rising Sun. The point is, it doesn't matter if it's a second devil or a second grimoire, because the parallel here is not necessarily that Yuno received a second grimoire, but rather that he received a second magic ability. It really doesn't matter how Asta gets a second ability, as long as the parallel to Yuno is fulfilled again. But since Asta has no idea about demonology, he has absolutely no idea how to contact the devil, and how to make contracts and rituals. And since most of the devils are controlled by Lucius at the moment anyway, the idea with the second grimoire is the most likely, and will fit perfectly with Yuno's second grimoire. Another thing I noticed while looking at my predictions is that Noel also has some similarities with Asta and Yuno, so in the same parallel way. For example, Asta got his devil form, then immediately Yuno his spirit dive, and then Noel her Valkyrie dress. Or Devil Union, then Full Spirit Dive, and then Saint Stage. And there are many more things, like the Water Spirit. And it also makes sense to include Noel in this parallel, after all, she's the 3rd main character. The point is that if this parallel concept also applies to Noel, then theoretically she should also get a second grimoire. And I have actually already theorized that in order for Noel to be able to use the Water Spirit to its fullest extent, she would have to sign a real contract and possibly even become the Queen of the Heart Kingdom, because only then can she also use the Heart Kingdom grimoire with all the spells. This is the power of 1200 years since the creation of the Heart Kingdom. How else is Noel going to get stronger and compete with absolute monsters like Yuno and Asta? So yes, the biggest power increase Noel could get is to gain the Heart Kingdom Grimoire and become the true host for the Water Spirit. She disappeared immediately after her report of Asta's possible death. This can only mean that she has made her way to the Heart Kingdom, most likely to make another contract with the Water Spirit. Thus, we would have a light triad with double Grimoire parallel. Also, to make Asta a little more unique, I think a scroll will make him stand out even more. This fits perfectly with the fact that Asta is currently in the land of the rising sun. Remember my theory that someone prepared Liebe and the Grimoire for Asta to receive it one day. You know, pick it up, take it to the Grimoire Tower, and so on. Possibly this person is even responsible for Asta not having magic, and whatever other things this mysterious person may have been involved in. The idea was that everything that happens to Asta where it looks like someone prepared something for him or showed him the way, such as the sword in the dungeon and so on, was all done by the same person. This person could also be responsible for why Asta ended up in the land of the rising sun. Maybe it's Asta's father or Astaroth, it doesn't matter now. If this person really prepared everything with the sole purpose of making Asta stronger, then maybe he also left another grimoire or scroll in the land of the rising sun for Asta. Or maybe a magic katana, something like that. And who knows, maybe there's another devil in it. With that, then no one will complain that Asta will lose the essence of his existence in Black Clover. He will just be the devil boy. And that's the biggest problem people have with the idea of Asta having magic, because it doesn't fit his design. But let's face it, why would it be so bad if Asta has magic now? It all depends on what magic ability. Something boring like Earth magic would really make no sense, unless Asta will suddenly become the host for the Earth Spirit. But you get the idea, a simple or non-special magic will destroy that vibe that Asta has. In my opinion, it doesn't have to be an insanely powerful ability either. Maybe the ability isn't that good, but in combination with his anti-magic, it becomes unbeatable. And I know many assume that this makes no sense because anti-magic will cancel out any magic he might receive. But anti-magic is a bit more complicated. A lot of the effects that people think are part of anti-magic aren't really part of anti-magic at all, but part of the magic source that Asta uses. This has been confirmed many times. However, one thing is true. Anti-magic can indeed cancel out magic. But not always. Asta still does not have full control over this ability, as was clearly demonstrated in the Spade Kingdom War. We saw how Asta was unable to interact with all sorts of magic concepts. The reason for this has not been shown yet. It looked very much like a pre-stage anti-magic zone. For example, Mimosa couldn't heal Asta because his anti-magic was leaking out of his body uncontrollably. The same thing happened in the fight against Lucifero when Asta couldn't be supported by the Dark Shadow Kid's playground. So it really depends on how Asta uses the anti-magic. I have a lot of examples. The Witch Queen could control Asta's anti-magic. Ghost could clone Asta's anti-magic, all the healing magic. His anti-magic sword could easily absorb other magic without the anti-magic inside the sword causing any problems. And of course, the cursed arms. It's actually pretty obvious that the assumption that Asta can't have a second magic ability because his anti-magic will cancel it out is simply wrong. If he tried to combine anti-magic and magic, they might cancel each other out. But he can just separate them as he has done for 8 years so far. Please let me know what you think of this theory. Drop a comment. And don't forget to leave a like, it really helps me a lot to continue the Black Clover content on this channel. And as always, if you want to see more Black Clover content, then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.